Buckle up for a deep dive into a game-changing issue that's hitting Indian students hard and could reshape India's future. In May 2025, the Trump administration rolled out tough new measures for international student visas, zeroing in on Indian applicants. U.S. missions were told to pause new student visa interview appointments as officials ramp up social media vetting for F1 student visas. An internal State Department cable, confirmed by U.S. officials, laid out plans for expanded social media scrutiny of all student and exchange visa applicants, with consular sections directed to dedicate more time and resources to each case for intense background checks. Beyond halting interviews, the administration is tightening the screws on visa compliance, with consular officers now factoring in visa overstay rates, how often students fail to return home on time, into their decisions. While India's student overstay rate is relatively low at around 3%, the US is pulling out all stops, using economic indicators and social media histories to gauge applicants' intent to return. Visa conditions have also gotten stricter. Immigration authorities are pushing harder on deportations and revoking student visas for those seen as security risks or violating terms. Notably, even minor infractions or political activities like expressing support for Palestinian causes can now put a student's status at risk, with warnings that such speech could lead to deportation. This atmosphere of intense surveillance and zero tolerance has made life incredibly uncertain for Indian students dreaming of studying in America. The fallout for Indian students has been immediate and intense, casting a shadow over their educational plans in the US. Many hoping to start in fall 2025 are stuck in limbo, with visa interviews on hold and requirements shifting constantly. Students are frantically scrubbing their social media, deleting posts out of fear that their online activity could be used against them by visa officers. Encrypted group chats and so-called war rooms have sprung up among applicants' families to swap the latest updates on visa rules. A 28-year-old aspirant who worked hard to build a profile for top US programs shared his worry, saying, "I don't want to go there and be in a constant state of fear." This anxiety is pushing him and others to reconsider eyeing alternative destinations like Britain, Germany, Singapore, or Canada for higher studies. Indian families who once viewed a US degree as a ticket to prestige are now voicing serious concerns about a hostile environment. A mother in New Delhi mentioned warnings from relatives about rising anti-immigrant sentiment in the US. Still, many students hold on to the American dream, moving forward with applications in hopes that the current fog lifts. The psychological toll is clear, with immigration attorneys noting a spike in stress, anxiety, depression, and even PTSD among international students navigating this unpredictable landscape. The uncertainty around visas, piled on top of academic and financial pressures, has some Indian students questioning whether a US education is worth the gamble. These visa policies are also throwing a wrench into Indian students' career plans in the US. Even those who manage to enroll face uncertainty about what comes after graduation. The optional practical training program, which lets foreign graduates work in the US for 1 to 3 years, is under heavy scrutiny. In April 2025, US authorities tightened OPT compliance checks, warning that even minor delays or errors in reporting employment could lead to deportation. Several hundred international graduates, including many Indians, have already had their OPT visas revoked after graduation due to these stricter reviews. Plus, H-1B work visas, the usual path to longer-term employment, are facing reforms and longer processing times, making the post-study pathway far less certain. This undermines the long-standing appeal of studying in America with hopes of landing a US job. The data paints a grim picture. F1 student visa denials have skyrocketed, with rejection rates hitting 41% in 2023-24, impacting roughly 279,000 applicants, many of them Indian. In early 2025, the number of US student visas issued to Indians dropped by nearly 50% compared to the previous year. These trends show that tens of thousands of Indian students are either being rejected by US consulates or choosing to opt out, threatening to derail their academic dreams and career aspirations. For India, this US visa crackdown puts a spotlight on a persistent challenge: brain drain. India sends more students to the United States than any other country, even surpassing China as the top source of foreign students in American universities. As of 2024, about 337,000 Indian students were studying in the US, part of an estimated 1.3 million Indians pursuing education abroad. the largest overseas student cohort in the world. This exodus, fueled by the promise of world-class institutions and opportunities, comes at a steep cost. Decades of talent outflow have drained India of top talent and siphoned off over $10 billion annually in foreign exchange for tuition and living expenses. Indian families pour billions each year into educating their children overseas, resources and expertise that often don't return home. While Indian graduates in the US have achieved incredible success, from Silicon Valley engineers to academic researchers, their departure represents lost potential for India's development, especially in critical fields. The new US visa barriers could worsen this brain drain by diverting students to other countries like Canada, Australia, or Germany. Without attractive homegrown options, India risks losing talent to other foreign shores. Yet, there's a glimmer of hope. India's ability to harness high-skilled talent at home is on the rise. Some students are starting to question whether the US, with its declining openness, is still the best destination, noting that India is becoming more capable of absorbing and advancing global talent. Indian research institutions and industries have shown they can deliver world-class results, from affordable vaccines to low-cost space missions, proving that top talent can find meaningful opportunities at home. Paradoxically, the US visa clampdown offers India a strategic chance to reverse the brain drain. As one analysis puts it, as America closes its doors, India has a rare opportunity to strengthen its domestic education ecosystem and emerge as a global knowledge hub. The return or non-departure of even a fraction of the thousands of graduates who seek overseas opportunities could enrich India's talent pool. Instead of focusing only on sending students to Western universities, Indian policymakers are prioritizing stable, high-quality alternatives at home. Over the past decade, the government has laid groundwork through the National Education Policy of 2020, which modernizes curricula and opens campuses to international collaboration. New Indian institutes of technology and management have expanded capacity, while the Institutions of Eminence program grants autonomy and funding to top universities like IIT Delhi and the Indian Institute of Science. Research investment is growing, with the National Research Foundation formed with a Rs 50,000 crore corpus to fund cutting-edge research. India is also internationalizing education, inviting foreign universities to open campuses and attracting over 49,000 foreign students through the Study in India initiative. These efforts signal India's ambition to shift from a supplier of students to a global center of learning. Experts say India's moment has come, but seizing it demands sustained effort. Tech entrepreneur Vivek Wadhwa points out that while India isn't yet a global research superpower, it's well positioned to inherit the talent America is turning away. To do so, India must invest in its research infrastructure, improve its regulatory environment, and prioritize public-private collaboration, treating research as a national priority. To turn the brain drain into brain gain, India needs a multi-pronged strategy. First, it must scale up investment in world-class universities and research, boosting funding for labs, faculty, and facilities to improve global rankings, redirecting even a fraction of the $8 to $10 billion spent annually on foreign education could upgrade domestic institutions, hire renowned faculty, and boost research output. Second, India should strengthen industry-academia collaboration, with universities partnering with companies on R&D, internships, and projects. Successful models like Shiv Nadar University's partnerships with industry giants show the potential. Tax breaks for corporate R&D and streamlined regulations could encourage more collaborations, motivating students to pursue careers in India's thriving tech and engineering sectors. Third, India should incentivize returnees and attract global talent through expanded programs like the Vaibhav Fellowship, which has engaged 75 diaspora scientists, though this needs scaling up with more grants and incentives. The G20 talent visa and post-study work visas for international students could further enhance India's appeal. Fourth, improving the research environment and quality of life is crucial. Simplifying bureaucratic processes, enhancing urban infrastructure, and tackling issues like pollution will make India more livable for high-skilled workers. Finally, India can leverage digital platforms like Swayam and the National Digital University, alongside global partnerships with foreign universities, to offer world-class education at home, reducing the need to study abroad. In conclusion, the US government's intensified scrutiny of Indian student visas, from tougher interviews and social media checks to stricter compliance rules, has made the path to an American education far more daunting. For thousands of Indian students, this creates personal turmoil and uncertainty about their educational and career prospects in the US. Yet, this crisis holds a silver lining for India. By curbing the outflow of students, it could slow the brain drain that has long siphoned off India's brightest minds. More importantly, it provides a powerful impetus to accelerate reforms that make India's universities and industries more attractive. Rather than dwelling on lost opportunities abroad, India can channel its energy into building world-class opportunities at home. If India retains a larger share of its brilliant students and draws back those who left, the payoff will be immense. A critical mass of skilled innovators driving breakthroughs in technology and science, fueling economic growth and cementing India's status as a global leader. India stands at a strategic crossroads where an outward migration challenge can be transformed into a long-term national advantage built on talent retention, economic resilience, and soft power. The coming years will test whether India can seize this moment to keep its top talent and empower them to achieve their fullest potential for the nation's growth and global leadership. Thank you for watching. Let's discuss how India can turn this challenge into a historic opportunity.